The Milford girls basketball program will have a fresh outlook in the 2015-16 season. Taking over the Lady Hawks program this year is TJ Dolliver. After gaining experience coaching at the freshman and JV levels, Coach Dolliver is excited for the challenge of leading the varsity squad.
I was ecstatic when he called me. I already have so many things going through in my head. What do I want to do? Who do I want to talk to? What do I want to do for an offense, a defense? It's so much that you don't think about when you were a freshman and a JV coach. But when you get head of the program, you're like, oh, that's a lot that you have to deal with. So, it's nice that I'm a teacher in the school because, I see the girls. I have a good relationship with the boys still. Continue with the whole program, which is nice. And I find myself during my prep period just worrying, like, do I have everything done, for my classes, for my practice, for JV, for freshmen. So it's a good feeling. Definitely having fun so far.
Coach Dolliver, like fellow basketball head coach Paul Seaver, knows all too well the experience of playing at the varsity level for Milford High School.
Well, it was nice growing up, definitely playing in the same gym. It was nice, having Coach Manguso, great coach. He taught me a lot about the game, and, I think that's probably the main reason why I have carried over, and I've always wanted to coach because I learned all the ins and outs of the game. And so when I just would go and watch a game, you find yourself coaching from the bleachers where you're just like, oh, they should have rotated or they should have switched that or things like that. And so I think that's just kind of when I figured out I wanted to coach. But it's nice to be back in the same gym that you played in. You see a couple of the banners up that you were a part of. And it's nice because, you know a lot of people in the programs already. You know a lot of the other coaches, the teachers. So just being an alum of Milford High alone kind of gives you an advantage in the community, which is nice.
Milford's basketball programs are now each in the hands of Scarlet Hawks alumni, which Coach Dolliver believes will be a great resource for both teams as the season progresses.
It's fun, especially last year. I mean, we got to coach through the same program, so, at all times we're always conversing on what happened in games, what happened in practices, this person, that person. And now it's funny because we can extend it even more. We'll talk after games and he'll give me his rundown and then I'll give him my rundown. And it's funny because we were good friends growing up and we're still good friends now. And we're not afraid about talking about anything. So, we can really break down and get ideas from each other, which is great. So the friendship definitely adds a good aspect to the whole program for boys and girls, definitely.
With the bulk of his coaching experience taking place in the boys' game, I asked Coach Dolliver if the transition to coaching the girls would be a difficult one.
X's and O's, it's the same game. Still only being a weekend, I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think I have a really, really good personality to coach the girls. I'm not a yeller, really. I talk loudly, but I try to make sure they understand that I'm not yelling at them. I'm talking loud to prove a point, to teach them. I think that's one of the main differences that works really well. I think with the boys, sometimes you really got to get on them if they're not working hard. I think the girls, they listen a lot more. And so far, the week that we've had, they've learned so much. And you can see it. And day by day, I come into practice and I'm like, ooh, I didn't have to tell them about that again because I told them yesterday and they already picked up on it. So, I mean, I know the boys do that as well, but so far they listen really well, which is great. I got to watch them a couple times last year, which was nice. So just from watching them, I definitely saw, like you said, there's a lot of talent. And I already knew a couple of the girls just from being a teacher in the school anyway. So, just from being able to watch them twice last year, you could tell that they were a good group of kids. They worked hard and, they were all there for the right reasons. So, that's always a good thing when you take over a program. You're just hoping that you got good kids. It's the best thing you can hope for. The fact that they can stop in my room and just ask me about anything, they don't have to wait for practice. It's nice. Just the excitement I see on their faces when, we talk about something outside of practice, just, hey, what did you think about this play that we ran? I can ask them at all times during the day, which is nice. And they're always stopping in. Seems like every period. Hey, coach. Hey, how you doing? Get to class. So it's definitely an exciting experience. You got 1 week down, and I just can't wait for Friday.
Last season, 9 of the 11 players on the Lady Hawks varsity team were underclassmen, including Kate Irwin and Emily Pierre-Gustavo, who served as starters for the team as freshmen. That returning experience will be invaluable to the team as they head into the new season.
The varsity experience is huge. I'm still trying to figure out the ins and outs of all of the players. Not really being able to watch them last year, only twice, and only being through 5 or 6 practices so far. I'm still trying to learn the ins and outs, but experience on a whole is such a big deal when it comes to these games. When hopefully down the road when we get ourselves into a big playoff game or a league championship game or something like that, their experience from last year will definitely carry over. Emily's hurt right now, so she's giving everything that she can on the side, and that goes back to the bought-in experience. She's here every single day, working as hard as she can with her mind because she can't do it with, her athleticism. So the experience on a whole is definitely going to carry over, and it goes for not just them, but, the sophomores that were on the team too. I mean, it's not every day a sophomore plays on varsity, never mind a freshman. So all the experience that they got last year was definitely key for what hopefully we can do this year. I know that we have a hard league. I know it's one of the best leagues in the state, and I haven't really been able to scout too many of the other teams, but just from word of mouth, I've heard that we're definitely playing some tough competition. As for my goals, I just want to compete. That's what you hope for. No matter what team you have, just compete. Whether you're winning or losing, you're right there. You're learning from each experience in the game. That you can only learn so much when you're getting blown out or you're blowing out another team. So I think the experience is what I really want for these girls. I want them to learn to compete, learn to adjust during games, which is one of the things that it's hard to learn as an athlete. It comes from experience. So if I had to put one word on it, it's compete. Yeah.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Coette. Make sure you check out full episodes of The Milford Informer on Milford TV. New episodes air every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. and then re-air frequently over the course of the weekend. Milford TV can be found on Comcast Channel 8 and Verizon Channel 38. And if you live in the Milford area and have an idea for a news story, you can contact us at news@milfordtv.net.